Today I'm going to show you a custom gate build. I've got a gate that I need to make to fit a custom opening in my house. It'll be one stationary side and one hinge side that you'll be able to get in and out of one of the rooms in the house. And I'll show you guys some pictures of that once we get finished with the video. So right now what I've got going on is I'm just took some standard 2x10 construction grade lumber. The boards were already pretty flat, so I just took them to the planer and the joiner and just squared up one side. I'm adjusting the table saw here. I'm going to go ahead and rip the pieces down for the spindles that are going to be located, I guess that are going to be basically make up the main portion of the gate. So after I cut the spindles, I have to make the top and bottom rails for the gate. Basically, it's something for the spindles to set into. So here I am, I just cut a board to a rough dimension size, and then I'll be readjusting the fence on the table saw to the exact width that I will need to make the top and bottom rails of the gate. So after I completed the cuts for the top and bottom rails of the gate, I put my dado stack in here, and I didn't show you guys the whole adjustment process of coming up with the thickness, but basically I just cut a dado in each section of the rail of the gate, and that dado cut will receive the spindles for the gate. So here I am, I'm adjusting the router table, putting in a different roundover bit, and that roundover bit's actually going to be used just to ease the corners on the spindles of the gate and make it have a nice feel to it. So once I finished that, I didn't show you guys, but I readjusted the height of the roundover bit, basically made it so it would cut a reveal with the roundover for the top and bottom rails of the gate. So if you look close here, there's just some areas you just can't get with a power sander, so I'm using some hand sanding techniques here to get the roundover on the top and bottom rail of the gate smoothed out and ready for a finish. So what I'm doing here is these are the spindles for the gate after I've cut the roundover in them. I put some bench dogs in the dog holes of my bench, and I'm clamping those down to the bench dogs. It's just something to kind of hold them in place while I use the orbital sander to smooth everything out. I didn't show it on film, but to use this technique, after I got the center portion, I just flipped the clamps over and got the ends. And then I just took a small block plane and eased the edges. And here I am, I adjusted the stop blocks on the miter saw so I could cut all the spindles to the same length. Now once I finished cutting the spindles, I brought it over to the assembly table. And basically I used wood glue and brad nails to hold them in place. So the pieces you see me slipping into place right now, those are just spacer blocks that are just, I made them out of the drop pieces from the spindles. Those are each 3 inches, and then here I am kind of dry fitting the spindle in place. And then before I actually brad nail or use the brad nails to put that in, put a little glue on each end. And once it's glued up, I kind of did my best to try to get the spindle in place without losing too much of the glue or having it smear off on the way in. But some of it did naturally smear off, but that's okay. I think it still is holding up okay. I think it's still enough of it still made it into the joint. So once I get the spindle pushed into place, I take the brad nailer and put a couple brads in each side to hold it there. So right here, what I'm kind of pointing out is that I need to drill some holes in this spindle before I put it in place. I'm sorry about the shots here. I tried to cut them as best as I could to still show the holes being drilled in the gate. So I drilled 3 holes, one in the center and one on each end. After I drilled those, I took a countersink bit and my cordless drill, and I just countersunk those so they could receive a screw head and still be countersunk. And I kind of plan on painting the gate in the future, and before I paint, I'll go around and I'll fill those screw holes with a little bit of wood filler. So here's that final piece being glued in place, and then a couple of brad nails will be shot in. So on the opposite side, I forgot to drill the holes prior to, so you just saw me drilling those holes a minute ago. And right here I'm just cutting some top and bottom caps and cutting a profiled edge to them. And there'll be a center post in the gate. You guys will see what I mean by that in 1 second here. A little bit of hand sanding to kind of smooth things over, and got what I could with the orbital sander. So right here, these are the top and bottom caps of the post, and that post is just standard construction grade pine. I used 2 2x4s, trued them up on the joiner, planed them down, cut them with the table saw, glued them together. And I just used some glue and tried to kind of smear the glue in with a scrap piece of wood and put as much on there as I could just to help hold it, to try to prevent the end grain from sucking up too much of the glue. And for the bottom portion, I use screws there just to help give the gate some stability. So this piece that I'm milling up here, I didn't show you guys where I planed this portion down. This was out of the 2x10 also. Basically, I'm milling it up. It's going to get installed on the opposite end of the gate, in relation to the post that you guys just saw on the one side. And this will be the board that actually mounts to the wall. So this side will screw to the gate and then screw to the wall on the opposite portion. And I'm using the combination square to mark out my holes here just to kind of keep everything lined up. And I drill and countersink those, and here I am screwing the opposite side of the gate into the other portion. So right here I'm showing you guys the portion of the stationary gate completed without the finish, and basically on the one side there will attach to the wall, and on the post side that'll freestand in the middle of the opening, or off to one side of the opening. Once I get that installed, I'll take, and this is the actual gate portion of this gate build, and I did not show you guys the build of this, but it's basically the same process as the big version. only I just built a smaller version that will fit into place here. And I'll need to get some hinges and mount some hinges to this gate, and then I will put a latch on one side that'll catch a block that'll be mounted to the wall. So here I am installing the hinges, and here's the latch I chose, and here's the gate build completed. Thanks guys for watching, and please like and subscribe and leave a comment below.